podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Hello everyone and welcome to How Are the Podcast. We're in the pub after the game against Blackburn Rovers. Sunderland lost 1-0. Unfortunately, didn't play particularly well, but there we go. We had to talk about it. We're going to see how long we can stretch this shite out for. I'm joined by a cohort of gentlemen. First up, Sam Blakey. Hello, mate.
Are you all right? I'll ask if you're all right, but I know you're not.
I am. I'm absolutely fine. I've only had 9 pints. Mike Dunn's here too. Hello, mate.
Oh, good, Gav. How are you? See the shorts are out in the rain.
Always. When is it not shorts weather? That's what I want to know. Also, yeah, Ant. Hello, mate.
Hello.
So, we agreed to stand here and talk about this shit a couple of days ago, if I remember rightly. So we're here and we're giving people what they want. But, I mean, there wasn't much to talk about, let's be honest. This might be a short reaction podcast, mate. I mean, today was all right at times. I thought some of the football was okay. Some of the lads played well. Some of them were just not there. But, I mean, the overarching feeling about all of this is like, I mean, it felt unimportant. As soon as I saw Joe Anderson on the team sheet, no offence to him, it just,
I mean, all right as well. He wasn't too bad.
I mean, what? But
you're balancing it by saying like the team we had out there, and we were just saying beforehand, it doesn't really matter. Like, and what do you even say about it? I think maybe 4 of those lads will probably play in the playoffs when it comes to it. So I think people maybe are getting a bit anxious now. I was reading a few WhatsApp groups saying this form isn't good. We're struggling here going into playoffs. But then you realise everyone around us is losing games as well. I think Bristol, Borough and Coventry all lost as well.
I think there's only Millwall in the playoffs. Yeah.
So really, like, when you balance it out, it doesn't really matter too much. I think we just need to sort of focus on the playoffs. You got to remember as well, probably think we've 4 games in 17 days, the 2 playoff legs in the last 2 games. So look, bigger scheme of things, it's not a big deal.
Well, you're right, because and you can tell in the players, can't you, that they're not pushing themselves to their limits, but you can understand why. I'm a big believer in that. This is the right approach, and if we fail, then we fail. But 2 years ago, and I've said this before, but 2 years ago, we pushed ourselves. We did everything we could to get into the playoffs. On the final day, we got the playoffs, and then what happened. We got beat by Luton, and people keep talking about momentum, but, you know, if you can get some sort of balance between momentum and fitness, then you're good. And we've got 2 games left. I mean, if the next 2 games aren't great, then I can kind of understand it. But surely at this point, everyone can say what we're trying to do.
Oh, 100%. It's just getting, legs, getting some minutes into some legs in it. Like Harrison Jones today. Harrison Jones would be nowhere near the playoffs. Nowhere near that side of the playoffs. Played all right, didn't he? Had a kind of game, looks of talent. The same can be said. Milan Alexic did okay. Tommy, now what's going on with Tommy, what's his name at the end of the season? He's not going to be in the playoffs. So I think people just need to kind of, and if people are getting ahead of themselves, just remember where we were 2 years ago when we went in there. We went full of confidence. We went full of everything. We were over the moon. 2 games later, we were out and we were done. That was it. And we had no fit centre-halves. We had no fit anything really. Didn't have a striker. Now we're going to have all of our players, hopefully, fingers crossed, fit, hopefully ready to go. The likes of Dennis Cirk and Romain Mundo to come back in. I think, to be honest, yes, it would be nice to win. Of course it would be. No one wants to lose games. But you've got to look at the bigger picture that we're keeping a lot of players fresh. Dan Neal today didn't get on the pitch. Really good rest for him. He can come back in the next few games and be absolutely fine. I think we'll be fine anyway. And as Mike has just said before there, no one else in the playoffs is winning. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's the way it's communicated back to the players for me, Sam, because when Ant's just touched on there, Dan Neal was nowhere near today. We've got Certain coming back, Ballard coming back, Mundell coming back, potentially. It's hard to get too deep into this, I think. I know some fans will be watching this and be going, well, it's not good enough. We should be winning. We should be doing this. We should be doing that. I really struggle to be asked. I'll be honest, right? I didn't go at my seat till 35 minutes into the game. I stood on the concourse. Me and the lads, one of them's here, Aaron, the 5 of us, we stood on the concourse. We come in the ground 10 minutes before kick-off. We got a pint and we went, we'll just watch it here. We were so not bothered. I watched the game. I saw the entire game, but I watched the vast majority of it on the TV. And I'm sorry, but it just shows how not bothered I was. And it felt like a friendly to me. And just said a few names there. Milan Alexis played well. Harrison Jones played well. There's a bunch of players played really well. But under normal circumstances in an important game, if we were fighting for something at this point in the season, those players wouldn't be starting. And, the players aren't daft either. This has been clearly communicated. Otherwise, lads who would generally not be anywhere near the team are in the team. So it is tough to get too hard on them, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I want to start off by apologising to you because this was my idea a few days.
I would have been doing it anyways, don't worry.
But no, there's a few things like when I was in the pub and I was doing the rounds, the team sheet, me and the lads were saying, do you reckon in the meeting this morning, Joe Adamson was going, I'm what? I'm starting. You're talking about third or fourth, fifth choice left back.
Someone said, I'm sure it's 800 odd days since he signed. It's his first start.
I didn't think he'd started, but I assumed he had Jesus. But that is communicating back to us and the players when you saw that team sheet. I feel a little bit sorry for Reggie because on Friday he did play a strong team and it was just ruined. I think if he knew that was going to happen, he'd have played this team Friday and played the better team today. But I just echo what you've all said. It's hard to get annoyed, isn't it? I mean, you're looking at players who won't even get on the bench if everyone's fit. So what's the point? It is a pre-season friendly. I wonder if actually he treats it like pre-season and QBI plays the best team. Yeah. Now, your last friendly, you play the best team to go into the...
We were saying that, we think that maybe the last game is where he's going to his strongest 11 before the playoffs. And then you sort of know what sort of team he's looking at for the first leg of the playoffs. I think even Oxford next week, I'd say he'll be mixing it up again. And we probably should still get a result there, but it doesn't actually matter. I keep trying to say, balance ourselves. It doesn't matter. But I think QPR will be the sort of dress rehearsal for the following week. I think you're right when you're saying that, Sam.
Do you know something else as well, which I haven't really spoke about at all recently? But you think about that approach that we've taken, just the whole this is quite relaxed. We're doing this.
It's not Sunderland though. That's the problem.
No, but it's very
why are we so calm?
But being relaxed going into a playoff is unusual, isn't it?
Yeah.
When has that ever happened? Ever? When has a team ever gone in and just thought this is quite chill?
I think out of all the four teams that do eventually make the playoffs, one of them's going to be the losers of the top three. For Sheffield United, if they lose tonight, they're going to, oh hell, drop his pint, everyone. Drop his pint.
That's twice I've done that, by the way.
Was that excited?
Aaron, get the bar.
One's going to be the loser of them. So one's going to be the loser of them. They're going to be absolutely devastated, aren't they? The likes of Coventry or Bristol City, who also lost today, and it's wide open for them now. They're going to have to play their best team for the next couple of games. They're going to have to be at it for 100%. I think the challenge is that, and I think that's where I think people are a little bit kind of concerned now, is what happens if our 11 aren't at it for that Coventry game, or whoever we're playing in the playoffs. I think that's the only slight kind of doubt that I've got in my mind. It is quite hard just to get everyone up for it, you know what I mean? But if you're not up for a potential promotion, you shouldn't be playing for this football club, simple as.
Just a couple of things as well on performances and things. I think, Tommy... Yes, we'll move out the way. Yeah, this is live podcasting for you. We've got a cleaner here who's going to help us clean up my drop pint. Couple of things on performances. I thought, to be fair to him, I thought Tommy Watson had a good game.
Yeah.
Considering the criticism he's had this week, it would have been very, very easy for him to go into his shell. Look, I sat in this place last week and I was talking to Bomber and Brett, and we all agreed that Watson, we didn't feel he tried particularly greatly against Swansea. We then went in midweek and played, and it was worse than that. And he got loads of stick. And I actually think today, fair play to him. He played like he gave a shit. And considering the amount of criticism he's had this week, it would have been very, very easy for him to just disappear, wouldn't it?
He put a few tackles in as well, to be fair, which is obviously what everyone should be doing. But like you said, Bristol, he wasn't even trying to hide the fact it was a bouncing ball and he just moved out the way. And I think it speaks volumes what the manager's done today. So obviously he's not our player. But if that was a young lad who was getting dogs abuse, he's just fed him to Wolves today. He got booed before kick-off. But no, to be fair to him, he rose up to it. It reminded us of Roberts in the last home game where he was the only one who looked like he was trying to do anything. So fair play to him, but like we're saying earlier, he'll be nowhere near the playoffs.
No, but we say he'll be nowhere near the playoffs. But
it depends on Mundell, doesn't it? But if Mundell's fully fit, he might get the last 5 minutes, and even then you play Mundell for 90 minutes if you can.
Yeah, but like I said, to be fair to Watson, you know, he could have went one or two ways that might, couldn't he? He could have went into his shell and, you know, hid, like I felt he did at Bristol, or he could have done what he did today, and fair play to him for a young lad who's been getting shit all week. And you know, whether he's a kid or not, you know, you might say rightly so, he turned up today, fair play to him.
Yeah, and I think actually Libri played him purposely because he was so shit the other day to come out and you actually have to show something here. Don't take the piss out of us. And I'd say he might start again against Oxford and QPR. Just as Sam was saying, I think he could end up having a big role in the playoffs yet. I wouldn't be writing him off just yet because we don't really know where Mundell's going to be coming back. Like when he came back the last time, he was a bit rusty. So,
and with hamstrings, it's like, you know, whether yeah.
So I'd be still thinking Watson actually could be starting for us come the playoffs. And in fairness, the performance he put in today, I'd have no problem starting him. But like as you said, the Watson story we saw last week, absolutely shit. Today was a lot better. It was a bit more graft. I still don't think he's obviously he's still so young. He's still very raw, but there is a lot of ability there. Like you can see where Brighton are going from, but it just needs his attitude needs to be right. Like, and sure, like what's he got to lose? Like it's just going to look good for him going into Brighton. If he starts playing shit for us next few games, Brighton are going to be looking at him going, "What the hell are we getting here?" Like we just spent 10 million on some kid with a shit attitude. Like so, you know, it's up to him to. It's good for him to like show good before he goes into the Premier League next year.
Yeah. In terms of the performance, Anne, was there anything that really stood out for you? You know, I actually thought we played okay. You know what it is? The annoying thing is we didn't make the keeper work, particularly. But I generally, our all-round play was pretty decent.
There was like one proper clear-cut chance in the game and they took it and that was their goal. Apart from that, everything up until the final ball for me thought was good. I think there was a couple of balls that went in the box that I think Job could have got on the end of one of them, couldn't he, in the end. Harrison Jones would have lucky not getting on the end of the one in the first half. It was fine. It was the performance itself was okay for you know a team that's been clubbed together really. You know what I mean? After the likes of Harrison Jones and all them coming in, I thought it was all right. Didn't think Blackburn were anything special, and I'd have got away with a 1-0 win, fair play. But you should have seen them. I don't know if you were there at the end, but they were celebrating as if they won the league. You know what I mean? Like proper, like going for it. So it shows how much that means to them. But I thought we were okay. It was a lot better than Swansea. As Sam's made a great point about Swansea, where we did look as if we just couldn't give a shit, to be honest. Whereas today, I think they did look all right. They're playing some nice football, created some opportunities. If Wilson's on form, a couple of them half chances do go in. You know what I mean? He just needs a goal. Apart from that, I've got no complaints about performance, really.
Thought Job played quite well. And he's a player who, when he's not there, you miss him. I think the last couple of weeks, Sam, you can tell when Job's not in the team. Totally different side, aren't we, when he's not there?
I think it was important he got 90 minutes. Yeah. And I think when the fee came on, he dropped deeper as well, so he was on the ball a lot more. And yeah, like you said, I think, hasn't he missed 7 or 8 games this season through injury or suspension? I don't think we've won one of them, which speaks volumes, doesn't it? So I think you see the difference when Lafay comes on as well, and having them two next to each other to just bounce off each other, doing quick 1-2s rather than just foot on the ball, out the fullback, out the other fullback. Like we keep saying, we keep going around in circles, but it is a different team in the playoffs. And I think Anne touched on it earlier. Like if we go to that first leg and we're flying at them, which we should be, then this is justified. But my only worry is if in that first leg we do sit off a bit, which I think we might because we're away from home, I think there might be a bit hell on because you've played like this for weeks. You've got to come out flying in the playoffs and justify what we've seen in the last few weeks.
Yeah, that's the tough bit, isn't it? Like we can all stand here and be like, "Oh, this is the right approach. We're doing it right. We're resting players." Blah 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 blah. But at the end of the day, there will be naysayers who are stood there going, "Hang on, we needed a little bit of momentum here. We need to try and win games. We need to we need to show something at least that when we go into the playoffs, we can be confident." And I know that's mostly like a self-depreciating thing when you're a football fan. It's like, well, we have to be. A lot of people have been like, well, we have to be entertained. I don't pay me money to come watch Sunderland just toss games off and all the rest of it. But the other side of it is like, sometimes it's just difficult to try and navigate this kind of process, and it's, it is what it is. Are you any less confident about our chances because of the last sort of 3-4 games?
No, not at all. I'm confident that no matter who we play in them playoffs, I think over 2 legs, we're better than any one of them. The Coventry angle's a little bit of one I'm slightly worried that I can never remember beating Coventry in the 39 years I've been on this planet. But that's just, it is what it is, you know what I mean? That's just...
Coventry PTSD.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we watched it on Friday, and I know you lads mentioned it as well. Over 2 games, we will beat. I think we'll beat Bristol City.
Yeah.
You know, over what we saw, what was a full strength Bristol City side against 10 men, and I thought we played okay. I thought we defended well. As may ended up scoring a world class goal. I fancy us against them. I would fancy us against Sheffield United. I would fancy us, whoever gets in, I fancy us, because I think we're a good footballing team. I think we're a good side, and we're going to be going there with players who are fresh, who are fit, and if their minds are up there, then they'll be absolutely fine. And I think you mentioned it before, and we've all mentioned it. We have to remember 2 years ago how gutted we were when we got beat off Luton, but we had flogged players to death. We had injuries left, right and centre. We're going to go in 2 weeks' time, hopefully, with a full-strength side. So there you go, for me. It just doesn't bother us at all, Gav. The last 6 games haven't bothered us at all.
Do you think, I mentioned him there, Mayenda, he mentioned him. Do you think unless Wilson pulls something massive out the bag in these 2 games, do you think he's got to be the starter now?
I think Mayenda's our number 1 now.
Yeah,
100%.
I agree.
I mean, I was of that mind anyways.
Yeah, I agree.
But then he scored that goal the other day, and I was like, I mean, and people who've listened to the podcast recently will have heard us say this, but I just think there's a big difference between those 2 players. Like, Wilson is a fantastic player, don't get us wrong, but I just think with Mayenda, you get so much more out of him. Like, the other day when he scored that brilliant goal, that aside, there was 2 or 3 moments in the game where the ball went up to him with his back to goal, and Rob Dickie was tight, and Rob Dickie's like 6'5", big strapping centre half, and Mayenda just pinned him and turned him, and I'm like, there's nobody else in the team can do that. Never mind Wilson Isidore, nobody else in the team can do that. So I actually think that this last 7-8 games even have been about trying to get Isidore into form.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm under no illusions. I think Labrie knows who his best striker is.
I've got a sneaky feeling he's just going to start Wilson. I don't know. It's just how I feel. I feel like he is trying to play him back into form, whereas Mayenda, even today, got 10 minutes in the wrong position and looked all right, looked good.
But I just think that the difference with Mayenda and Isidore, you can drop Mayenda, and I know Mayenda, Labrie said this himself. He said, look, he's not happy when he gets dropped.
Yeah.
But I think you can drop Mayenda and he gets on with it. Like, you bring Mayenda on after he's not played 2 or 3 games, comes on the pitch and he's like a bull.
He always takes his chance, no matter how long he gets.
Where with Wilson Isidore, I think he's a confidence player and he's a bit different.
I think Wilson's not scoring. Like, you're looking around, what's he actually bringing to the team today? Like those last 20 minutes, he looked out on his feet. I actually kind of forgot he was on the pitch for the last 20 because he just wasn't getting near the ball. And he's the kind of player, like, I think he nearly overthinks everything in his head. If he misses a chance, he's not going to score the second chance. He's not as confident as he looks, but when he gets going, he's very, very good. But Mayenda, as you said, Gav, he just brings so much more to the team than Wilson. Like, and especially in the playoffs, say that away leg, we could be sitting back at times. Just his pace on the break, he's just such a bonus territory to have for us. Other teams, like, other team has
Mayenda at the end as well, didn't he? Bless him. He didn't come back on, did he? And then thank you very much, Deon Sanderson, for being
there. It could have been a penalty.
I thought it was a
penalty. I saw Mayenda's won the header, and Sanderson's flattened him in the box. And it was like no one even really... There was no players around.
I don't
know if... I think it's because no one really cares. But like, in the playoffs, like, I thought that could have been a penalty easy.
As long as he's fit, that's all I care about. The main thing is that we, as I've said, after every one of these games, we've just got to get through them. We've got another game coming up, get through it. Oxford away, get through it. And then QPR on the last day, get through it. For me, it's... This is a weird situation. Losing games of football is not good. Doesn't matter who you are, what your situation is. These footballers are born winners. The losing games of football is not in their nature and they don't like it. But at the same time, if they've collectively sat down and went, look, this is how we're going to approach this. We might lose a few games, but the point is that when we come to the playoffs, you're focused, you're mentally sharp, you're on it, you're fit, you're ready. Like, if that's what we've done, I don't... It just seems really weird to be like, as a bunch of fans, we're quite happy to, like, well, we got beat, but so what?
Yeah.
Like, we're not used to doing that. But when... And this is regardless of whether we win the playoffs or not, right? I just think, had we not took this opportunity, Sam, it would have been... daft.
I agree, and I agree that, like, this won't win or lose us the playoffs, what we're doing, but the performances will justify whether this was the right call to make. because I know I mentioned it earlier, but if we, like, I think it was the first few games of the season, remember when we kept winning at home, we were pitting teams in the corner, we were flying at them. I know you can't keep that up for a season, but I'd like to think that our plan for these 3 games in the playoffs is to do that. So I think Reggie wants to play like that. I just don't think he can do that over a season with a small squad. So if that's the case, then this is completely justified. But like I said, if we go to the away leg and sit back, which is fine, because you're away from home, we've got a massive home game after. But if you sit back and lose 2-0 or something, and then you're chasing it at the stadium, then that's when people will be justified in saying we shouldn't have done this. But I do think, like you're saying, if we'd played our strongest 11 these last 6 games and Lafay pulls his hamstring, Job gets clattered, then the manager's like, do you know what I mean? Everyone thinks he's an idiot. So I do get it.
I don't think you're ever going to please everyone, no matter what sort of strategy we took. Like
This is the important thing. I don't think he cares, does he, and the manager?
He's not bothered at all. No, he's not, and you can tell that. And it just goes back to what I just mentioned before about that foul on my ender. See if my ender is now injured for 2 or 3 weeks, there's one of your best players out, and then fans are just going to go, well, what have you put him on for? He cannot win. He cannot win in this circumstance at the moment, because when we got beat the Leeds, our objective of going up probably went automatically. That went in that game, didn't it? You know, and since then we've started doing this. But if you, as I keep on saying, if you flog players to death at the end of this season, 2 more games in a week, and then a potential final is hard on these players. And you've got to remember as well, these are young lads. These aren't, seasoned veterans or 30-odd-year-old players. These are kids. And you've got to do it at some point during the season. It has to happen. And I think it's just because we've reached that objective of it was so comfortable that we were in the playoffs, then it's kind of just tailed off a little bit that we've had to do it. And I just, for me, I'm about as bothered as what I think Reggie is. I think he's gutted. Like, we're all gutted that we've lost a game of football, aren't we? We don't want to lose. But in the bigger picture, we're like, well, are you going to be thinking about this in, say, a month's time if we have been promoted? We're going to think about where got beat up Blackburn at home on Easter Monday and it was shit. No.
Didn't they happen last year?
Yeah,
No, 5-1.
5-1.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I just
A marked improvement then, I guess. Mike, what would you say to anybody who's kind of worried right now? Where would your head be at if you were them?
just go for a pint, relax, and just don't drop your pint down there.
Yeah, I've got a nice new one here, and I'm not going to drop it. Cheers, Aaron.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Yeah, we will be fine, and that's it. I think. Look, it's unusual because never in my lifetime have I ever been in a position where I come after a game and I'm like, I'm fine, we're losing. I'm like, performance-wise, today was fine. We did okay. There was aspects I was happy with. The majority of the things I was happy with were from players who probably won't play in the playoffs. Harrison Jones, Tommy Watson, Milan Alexic, yada, yada, yada. We've got to a point in the season where we're coasting, and I understand losing games, people get uncomfortable and they get itchy feet and they don't know where to put themselves effectively. But look, there's a long way to go yet. We've got 2 massive games coming up in the playoffs, and Oxford and QPR are not big games in the grand scheme of things. Yes, we'd like to go into the playoffs having won a couple, it'll help, but the way the manager approaches this will tell everybody about how much we care about these remaining games. And I keep saying this and I keep stressing it, and I don't think the point's landing with many people, but it's how it's communicated back to the players that's important. If the players are fully aware, by the way, lads, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, this is how we're doing it, when it comes to playoffs, this is why XXX, then we just have to accept it. And I get why it's tough, but I keep drumming this point home. We've got to just chill out. I think Mike said it before, go for a pint and chill out. It is a bit like that. It's just like, we're just playing out these games now, and we just have to try and get through them and crack on and move on. And in a couple of weeks' time, we'll be very focused for the playoffs. We'll have a squad of players who'll be grateful for the fact that they've had a chance to rest, they've had a chance to chill, and they've had a chance to get themselves together mentally. And I mean, the mental rest is probably as big as the physical rest, because absolutely.
What's happened with Job in the last few weeks? I don't think I know he took a bit of a one in West Brom, but I think it's been upstairs with Job, and same with Rig and stuff. I think he might not even play Rig in the playoffs, so I expected him to play today, but it shows you exactly what we're doing. The fact Rig didn't even start today, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and like I keep saying, try and chill. We're very chill. We're going to have another beer. We're going to chill out. thank you very much, listener, for joining us. Before we started this, mate, we were like, how are we going to talk for 20 odd minutes about this? And we've managed it. So, thanks very much, Sam and Mike.
Thank you.
Safe trip home, mate. Thanks to listeners. We've got a pod coming up in the morning. We'll hopefully be joined, if now goes wrong, by Martin Smith, son of Pellier. Smudger, the son of Pellier, will be joining us on the review pod with Chris and Martin, so make sure you tune in for that tomorrow. We've got loads coming up over the coming weeks, so make sure you just get subscribed, get your notification bell on and all that other shite, and you'll never miss a pod from us. We're daily at this point, so yes, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Thanks, lads. We'll get ourselves another beer. We'll catch you later.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.